Welcome back to Keep On Creating. I'm Mike, this is my t-shirt printers. Let's create something. If you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button located down here, ding the bell so you know when a fresh episode comes in, and don't forget to hit the like button, it really helps and I would appreciate it too. Well, I knew it would happen. I do a tutorial on an Illustrator and the Affinity Designer's like, oh hell no, you better be doing a tutorial on this for an Affinity Designer.
I'll whip your ass.
Hold up! So we're going to be taking this text up here with this font style and we're going to tweak it a little bit, then smash it up and make something really cool from it. And if you want to know what font style this is, I'll leave a link down below so you can go check it out. Let's jump into this Affinity Designer tutorial on text effects, vector goodness again. Let's do this. First step, let's get a new artboard going here. So I'm going to head up here to Affinity Designer, go across to my right, hit File and drop down to New. I'm going to go for this A4 size over here and I want this to be landscape or horizontal. So I'm going to click on that little button there and click on Create. Now we've got our artboard going here. So I'm going to create 3 bits of text here. So I'm going to hit T to get my text tool, or it's this tool over here in the palette tool, which is this artistic text tool. And I'm just going to click over here and let's just type in keep. Okay, I'm going to hold down Command and then click off my page. So, well, on my artboard, but just on this blank area here. And I'm going to click again with my text tool. And I'm going to go on and then do that again. So hold down Command, click on my artboard, and then click again and say creating. Okay, cool. And then let's just deselect that. So now with it deselected, I'm going to hit V to get my move tool, which is this tool up here. So it's your move tool. Just going to select all of these items here. So I'm just going to drag and mark here over everything there. Okay, so obviously we want to, number one, let's just make them a little bit bigger. So I'm just going to click and drag it while holding shift just to keep them all nicely in proportion. If you don't hold shift, whoop, you're going to do that to it and that's not going to look cool. So just hold shift. Okay. Now let's select a font. So to select a font, I'm just going to hit up here to where my font library is and let's select a font for this one. So I'm going to go for this one over here. Okay, cool. And let's just get it sort of in position where we kind of want it. So let's just get it in there. And now I'm going to make this bigger again. So holding shift, select and drag to make it nice and big. Okay. So basically now I am looking at this font and I'm thinking, well, it doesn't have an uppercase and doesn't have a lowercase or a title case. I am going to have to try and work my way around this. I don't really like this T and this G either. So I'm just going to double select that, select this T. I'm going to go uppercase T, which makes it more of a T, and this G. Okay, we'll come back and sort this G out later. The way it joins over there, I'm not too keen on that one. So what we can do with this is I'm going to select this C over here. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, just this individual letter a little bit bigger, so it makes it look like it's an uppercase letter. So I'm going to hit up here where it's got this font size. I'm going to double select that and just scroll with the wheel on my mouse in the upwards direction. You can see it makes it a little bit bigger, which gives it a little bit more like title case. I'm going to do the same with this K. I'm going to select that and just select my font size and just scroll upwards. And it makes it look like it's in capital. Okay, so just deselect that by selecting the move tool. And to separate these out, I'm going to click and drag and make this smaller. Okay, yep. I'm going to hold shift, select my keep and then my on, and I'm just going to drag it across to this section over here. Okay, and then I'm going to hold shift and just click and drag that outwards there just to make it like a little bit bigger over there. Okay, so that's starting to look quite cool. Now just to bring it all together, I'm going to make a little line at the bottom and the top over here. So I'm going to get my rectangle tool by pushing M, or you can just go over here and select this tool over here, this rectangle tool. I'm going to click about here and just drag a line to about there-ish. Yeah, so say about there. Trying to make it as thick as this line over here. If you want to find out what that line width is there and make it the same, that's cool. But for me, I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm going to head over here to my swatches and flip my stroke and my fill around and just make sure it doesn't have a stroke on it. Okay, so let's just bring that in a little bit. So I'm just click and drag it and bring it in there a little bit. Cool. And now I'm going to click it with my move tool, hold down the Alt key with shift and then drag it upwards all the way up here. Okay, now what I'm going to do is go to this side over here, just scale it in a little bit, and obviously you can scale things when you've got these three little points. It makes it much easier, and I'm going to scale it all the way to that section over there, so that just looks like it's coming together a little bit more. So to make it even more gel together, or to make it gel together even better, what we can do is take this little section over here and place them in these little rectangle bits. So to do that, we could either draw them in, but what we can do is, I'm just going to select everything here and just move this up a little bit to give us a bit more space. I'm going to use this little part of the K over here. So to do that, we obviously need this section of the copy. So I'm going to select this with my move tool, hold down Alt, click and drag just another copy of it down here. Now to obviously get this little section that we need out, I'm going to have to convert this to curve. So you can either go Command Enter, or you can hit up here where it is Layer and you convert to curves by saying Convert to Curves and clicking this little button over here, and you can see it takes it from that text to a graphic, and you can see here in your Layers palette it says Group. So basically we need to ungroup this to get to that K, and I am going to just simply right click and go drop down to ungroup, or shift command G, and it ungroups everything. And obviously we don't need this EEP part over here, so you can just either select it in your layers palette, just shift select the ones that you don't want and hit that delete button, and we end up just with the K. Now to get that little piece out there, you're just going to head up here to your Pathfinder tool and basically click on this divide, and what it does, it just releases all those little elements. So you can see we've got that little bit, and we've got the K bit that we don't want, so I can delete that now. So with this little bit over here, I need to obviously rotate it around. So if you just hover over this little section, you get that like bent arrow. I'm just going to click and drag that off to the side. You can see while holding shift it snaps nicely to give us that nice straight line. Now to zoom in there, I'm just going to really zoom in because we're going to need this thing bigger. Now if I click on that little dot, I can hold down Command and drag, and basically what it does, it drags in both directions. So if you hold Command, it drags out both ways. So I'm just going to drag it quite big, so obviously that's a long line we've got to do over here. Okay, just going to make another copy of that by clicking on it, holding Alt and dragging it up here, because we're going to have to come and sort that one out. Let's just make this still a little bit bigger. So really have to zoom in there and hold down your Command key to make sure it's going in both directions. Just zoom in. Yeah, that's cool. That's a nice size for that one. I'm just going to pop it in here somewhere sort of in the middle-ish. Okay, just make sure it's on top of this rectangle that we've done. So you can see mine's over here and then my rectangles are up here. So I'm just going to click on that and drag it all the way right to the top, making sure that that blue bar that we've got is filling up that whole stroke area. It's not going into the side. Just drop it up there. Okay, and let's just make it white by selecting our fill and clicking on our white graphic. Obviously we need to just center that a little bit better. So clicking it, just dragging it in. That's cool, and we're going to do the same for this bit up here. So we're going to bring this in a bit. So I'm just going to go from this side here, just zoom in a bit more till I get those three dots, and just drag it into about here. Zoom out again, and just pop that in there. Cool, round about the central. Make this one white, and obviously drag it all the way to the top so we can see it. Cool, and let's just make it more central. So just click it and just drag it there. Cool. Okay, just zoom out. Now you can see it ties in a lot better. So it's not that like solid block. Let's start sorting out our fonts and turning these into graphics. So exact same way we sorted it out earlier, we are going to select our keep, hold shift, select our on, hold shift, and select this creations bit. Okay, so with all those selected, I can go Command Enter, or you can head up to your layer and convert to curves over here. Click on that. So you can see if you head over to your layers palette, you can see it's all groups now. If I undo that quick, you'll see it. This was text, and now it's all these groups. So now I need to release these from the groups. So easy way to do that, Command Shift G, or you can just right click and go ungroup, and it ungroups everything. The nice thing about this is it has still selected everything. So you can see everything is still selected from this bottom bit over here all the way to the top bit over here. So with everything selected, you just want to head up here to your add tool. Now sometimes what happens is when you click on the add tool, you get bits that fill in, like in these E's and the P's and the O's, and maybe this G, the A, another E, and the R. Sometimes they fill in there, so we may have to come and just find a workaround way to that. So if I click on this add button and you can see it's happened to this O over here and this R over here. So I'm just going to undo that, and we'll come back to those two. Basically what we want to do is deselect the O and the R, but we can unite everything else or add everything else together. So I'm just going to hold shift, select the O, hold shift, and select this R. So you can see I've deselected those two, but everything else is still selected. So you just click on this little add button and it adds them all together. We can even add in this top bar and this bottom bar to our text bits that we've done, and just click on add again. You can see it's just making one single graphic there. Okay, now what we can do is we'll come back to those two letters in a second. I'm just going to punch this layer through that top layer over there. So with this selected and making sure it's on the top, obviously you can see it's on the top because we can actually see it. Just going to hold shift, select that rectangle at the back, and click on this minus, and then it punches it through. Likewise for this bottom bit over here, select this white bit on top, select the background, and I'm just going to punch that through there. Okay, so now all we're left with dealing with is these two little sections over here. So the easy way around this is to, if I select my O and I select this little divide button, I'm just going to select that. Okay, I'm going to hold shift and deselect the main part of this. Okay, so you can see all I'm left with is this little bit here. Just going to change the color of it, just going to get my colors up, and let's just change it to this yellow bit over here. And you can see it's 3 different graphics at the moment. Hit that unite button on the add button. Okay, it adds them all together. Do the exact same for the R. So I'm going to hit the R, go up here to divide, click on that, and divides them up. Hold shift, select the main part of the R. Okay, and let's just click on this add button over here and just make it that yellow color too. Now we've got our color sorted so we can actually see them. I am going to have this yellow bit selected here, hold down shift and select our background of our R. So I'm just going to select the yellow layer and the black layer. I'm going to head up here to this little subtract bit of here, hit subtract, do the exact same now for this O part. I'm going to hold down shift while selecting both of those, the yellow and the black, and just go minus. So you can see we've got the O, the R, and the rest of our curve. So I'm just going to hold on shift and select this top one and then click add, and now everything adds together as one graphic. So you can see we've got one graphic here. If I just change it to like blue, the whole thing changes as one graphic, one layer, one graphic. Let's just change our design back to black. So with it selected, I'm just going to select our little black icon over here and make it nice and dark so we can see. Now early on I did say I had a problem with this G, the way it joined over here. So I'm just going to quickly go in there and sort that out. Okay, so I'm just zooming right in. I'm just going to make sure my snapping is turned on. So I'm going to switch this little snapping button on here. Now what I want to do is, you can see as I go over this with my rectangle tool, which is this tool over here, I'm just going to go in there and I'm going to click and I'm going to drag all the way down this section here. And this is going to make it, I'm going to take it somewhere about halfway. So basically what I've done, I've aligned it to that edge over there because it's a nice straight font. This is really easy to do. I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger to make sure it punches that nice bit out there. I'm going to select both my rectangle tool that I've drawn over here and this background bit over here, holding both of those. I'm just going to click minus so you can see there's a nice G over there rather than it looking like, I'm not too sure what it looked like, but I didn't like it. So it looks better now. Now we're going to have to skew this graphic a little bit just to make it more awesome. And don't forget to subscribe. So to skew this graphic, just select everything again, and you can see if I hover over this bottom piece over here or this top section over here, you can actually just drag it to either side and it skews it a bit. So I'm going to skew it like that, and I think that looks pretty cool like that. That is sweet like that. Now let's start smashing it up like we did in Illustrator. So I am got my pen tool, so I'm going to get P, and that's this tool over here in your palette tool. This pen tool over here. Now when I'm selecting this, I'm just going to do a click over here and I'm going to do a single click over here. I'm not clicking or dragging, so I'm not clicking this area over here and then just clicking and dragging and making a curve. I am simply clicking and making just a solid one click across the whole thing like that. Okay, so we're going to select a point to intersect. So I'm going to select about here and I'm going to intersect it to about down here. I am now going to go back a little bit this way and come a little bit more up there. Now to close this off, you can see it's got a little plus sign there for me to add like another node, but to close it off you just hover over where you started. You can see it gives a little 0 or an O, which means it's going to close this shape. So that's the close shape we're wanting. The only issue I have is a little bit over here, so you can see it's got that little node selected. I can just push A and I'm going to click and drag that up a little bit so I can individually manipulate these nodes. So if I wanted to bring this one in, I can drag that one in by itself. Likewise for this little bit up here, I can drag that up like that. So that's how cool that is. Now it's disappeared, and if it disappears, just click on your curve again and it'll activate. Obviously we need to see the shape, so I'm going to click on a color so we can actually see it. And you can see we've intersected it in that point there. So at this point, when we crack this up, we are going to have 3 sections. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3. So maybe in actual fact, what I want to do is take this bit up here and to make it a lot wider and up there. And if you want to see what points you're intersecting, all you got to do is take your layer and drop it below your curve. So now you can actually see where it's going to go through. So let's just make this a little bit wider up here. And I'm going to bring this in a bit more over here. It's much more in over there. Just bring it up to about like there. I really want to create that smaller to bigger effect in this, so I'm just going to do that there, and I'm going to drag that in a little bit there. Okay, cool. Just turn that snapping off when you're doing this, otherwise it just snaps to absolutely everything. Okay, so I'm going to do that. Cool. Now to punch it through, what we're going to do is this layer here must be on top of this layer here. Now when using the divide tool, make sure your alternative color is on the top layer. Our alternative color that we're using, this one, is that blue color. So when you hit the divide function, your graphic takes on that blue color, that top layer. If you had to put it at the back, it would all be black, and then it'll be hard to find out which elements you had to delete. Now being blue, you can just quickly go through it and see where it's sectioned off and delete it. It makes it a lot easier. Back to it. So with both my layers selected, I'm going to select this top layer and this bottom layer. So you just hold shift, select them both. And just to take all these nodes off, I'm just going to select my pointer tool, my move tool, and now I'm going to head over here where it says divide, and I'm going to click on that divide, and you can see it's basically just made a mess of all these little bits again, but it's divided up everything. So you can look in your layers palette and you can see all these layers here have been just populated, and we've got tons and tons of layers now. But what it basically is if I just deselect and then reselect and then just hit backspace, you'll see this section here is now all divided compared to it was one just big black area. Now we can go in there and just delete all these little pieces off that we don't want. So I can go in there, delete those bits, not that bit, just that little bit over there. If you're struggling to select like this little bit in here or this little bit in here, the easiest way to do it is just to go from the outside, drag your little marquee with your move tool, and just now you can select that bit there, hit backspace. Likewise for that little bit there, that little bit there, that bit there. Do I need that bit? Just make sure that we're not going to delete bits that we still need. So we'll delete that bit. See, now this bit here, we'll probably still need to come back to that and that, because these were these problem child ones in the beginning. So I'm just going to select all those 3 objects. I'm just going to unite them. Okay, make sure they're on top of my O. Just select both of them and just go up here and divide. So that's nicely punched through there. I'm just going to go through from side to side. That needs to be punched through our layer over here. And let's just punch it through. Yep. And likewise, where was the other bit? It was under here. Now obviously when you're punching through some of these, they're moving layers. So I punched this layer through that layer and it automatically jumped all the way to the top, whereas this layer here is probably sat all the way at the bottom, and then this bit of the E over here is probably set somewhere near the top. So the quickest way to do that is just either drag it all the way to the top, or you can just select your graphic and just go down to arrange and move to front, because then you know it's going to go all the way to the top. Shift select both of them and just punch it through. Okay, so likewise for that, if you can select both these items at the same time, if you're magically orientated that way, just do that. And I know there should be one over here, just punch that through. Okay, yeah, so that's all good. There's nothing at the bottom over here. I'll just delete this little bit over here, that bit there. This section in here can come out. Where's that bit in the T? Can that come out there? Nope, we have to punch that out. So I'm just selecting both of those, punching them, just making sure that our punch layer, this little section, is at the top. So you've got to send that to the top and then punch it through. Likewise for this section here, I think this is the A. So make sure those are selected, make sure they're right to the top. Just minus it through that little bit. Okay, let's just delete that little inside bit there again. It's going to select that bit, take that away, delete that bit, can delete that bit, delete that bit. And we just got these little bits down here. I'm going to just zoom out there so we can see. And delete that section. And then this little top piece up here, do we need to punch that through? I think we do. And just punch that. So now we've got those bits there. Oh, and we forgot this little piece in the R here. So select both of those and punch them through. By the end of this, you are going to be a master at punching and dividing and deleting objects. So now what we want to do is select all these little black bits, okay, together. So I'm going to just select those three, or you can just drag your marquee over that little bit there. Just make sure you got them selected only. Likewise for this section here, you'll see I'll start selecting this T, that top of the I, and that top of the N. Just want that black bit. So now we want to unite these together or add them together. So I'm just going to click on this little add button here, and now that becomes one graphic. And you can see we actually missed those two little points over there. So I'm just going to click and drag through them, or just do one at a time. Make sure it goes to the top, punch it through, and do the same as this. Just do that, select that one, punch it through, and then reselect all our little bits here, 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 and here, and then our top section over here, and just add them all together. So I'm going to click add, and you can see now it's added that section there all nicely. You can see if you've missed any pieces like I have, that's all one piece. Now let's do this other section over here. So actually let's just mark this bit off as done. So I'm just going to change it to red so we know that bit's done. And to do this top bit over here, well, the top black bit, so I'm going to select all those bits there, holding shift while selecting them all. And likewise for these bits down here and that little piece over there. So this side, just get all those together. Okay, it's going to combine them together or unite them. I'm going to send these to the back because I noticed there was a little piece popping out here. Okay, just do that little minus thing, and I also saw that we had these two little pieces here and here that didn't come in, and just add them all together. So now we've got this whole top section, a little piece over there. Just keep on checking to make sure you got everything all added up. Cool. Now what we're going to do is just this blue section. So all I have to do is just literally drag a big marquee over everything like that, and shift select this red bit, and now all I've got left is this blue bit, and just unite all those together. So now you can see what we've got is, if I just change it to blue, now you can see what we've got is a red, a blue, and a black area. Now we can move on to displacing these, so moving them, breaking them apart. So basically moving them like that, and like, just select the red bits so we can move them like that. Obviously I like to rotate mine to get that small area over there and that big area there, or vice versa. So what we can do, we can select our blue area like so. Now you can just rotate it where it is and just adjust it, but if you want to actually go ahead and say for this one, you wanted to rotate from this corner over here, you just got to reset from where it actually rotates. So currently it just rotates from the center point. So we can go up here to this little button over here, which is enable transform origin, and you can see it gives us, this is our center point over there. So if I just click and drag that and relocate it to an edge, you can see if I sort of drag it from this edge over here, it rotates around there. So I guess it gives you like a very good fine tune of where you want to rotate it out to. So that's kind of like that one. So it's going from thin to big on that side, and just cracks it up a little bit more. Let's just shift this a little bit more that way, so it creates more of a broken effect. Okay, cool, yeah, I like that. Now, similar to what we did with the Illustrator tutorial, we want to get some lines coming in here and breaking it up even more. So because this angle kind of, I want to follow this sort of angle over here. So that angle there, you can see this P and this E right there, and this little gap over here. You kind of want to get that angle because you don't want too many angles going through this, because we've already got this angle punching through this way, and obviously that angle, and we've got this horizontal angle going, and these angles going here. So what I want to do is, if we just get my pen tool, I'm just going to make a triangle like that. Okay, just make it green for now, and let's just put it, yeah, we'll make this one coming through like here. Now every time I make a new triangle, so I'm only going to have to draw it once, I'm just going to hold down my Alt key and click and drag. So it just makes it really quick and easy for me to just zip around and duplicate these as I go, so I don't have to draw new triangles every time. Now I want some going on from this direction, so I'm going to click it again, hold on Alt, drag one over here. Let's go around one of your corners and rotate this around. So I'm going to get my rotate with my arrow keys and just rotate that round. Okay, and make sure I'm going to grab that same sort of angle there. Okay, so just put one coming from this side, hold on Alt, make another one coming in down here. Maybe make that one a little bit deeper. just take the tip off this one over here and then do the same down here. So you can see what I mean by it's just kind of going in that same angle-ish. Okay, so just alt drag, place a few, rotate them around where you're happy. Okay, let's just take one of these because we'll keep them at the same angle. Just put one through here. Hold that alt key while dragging, and then just put another one through. Let's just put it through there. Okay, cool. So now to punch these through, we'll start working from the bottom here and work our way up. I'm going to hold shift and select both these green bits, hit this add button, and then hold shift again, select this red section, and then just say this minus or subtract, and you'll see it punches it through that bit there. Likewise for this blue section, I'm going to select all my green bits in this blue section, add them together, hold shift, select my blue, subtract them through. So it's created that cracked effect there. Last bit is this black section, select all my green triangle divider bits and add them all together to make them one bit, one graphic. Select my black bit and then just minus them off, so you can see it's cracked it all through there. Now color wise, that looks actually pretty cool if it wasn't like a white garment, this black, blue and red. But let's say we wanted this to go on a black garment or a black background. It's going to add a layer in here by clicking that little icon over there, drag this all the way to the bottom, okay, and just get our rectangle tool, which is M. It's going to make a huge black section over here. Currently it's green, but we'll make it black like so, okay. And then we're just going to make this bit over here, and we could make that red again, so to just keep it a 2-color print if we wanted, or it'll be 3-color with the white underneath. But let's just put a few more colors in here. So let's start off with a red. We'll make this one maybe the orange color, so we'll go to this orange, and we'll just step down this little chart here. So we'll just go from red, orange, and this orangey yellow color, and I think that looks pretty cool against the black. Just zoom in there, and that looks sweet. Another awesome looking piece of merch. I think with all these logos, we're gonna have to start to keep creating brands. So for a design like this one, it's the same as the Illustrator tutorial, where it will be a 3-color print plus that white underbase, which makes it a 4-color print. So you're gonna have that white, the color, and the color. So if you want to use the same font styles I've used in this tutorial, head to the link down in the description below, and don't forget to head over to our social channels, which are all linked over here. Make sure to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and that brings us to the end of another episode. Catch you on the next one. I'm out of here.